Usually we're talking at this point. You know?
Yeah, count
Right,
it.
we're rolling.
Normally it's like that thing has really big teeth. What's up, son?
What's up, son?
I don't know. We're
How am I supposed to do anything with this blaster sheet down?
the blast shield down. You can't even see.
Yeah, how am I supposed to fight if I can't see?
Wrong genre, bro.
Same voice actor, though.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
This is the Ryan
Oh, you broke it.
Sook Joker,
No.
as voiced by
No.
Mark
It's
Hamill.
not the Ryan Joker.
Inspired by Bruce Timm.
That's Bruce Timm is the one that did the art for this.
Oh, okay.
Ryan Sook did the art for these masks.
Okay.
Neil Adams did the art for this Joker.
Ooh, you know what? We should have known that.
You should have known this.
You
Just
had
like
to look it up.
No, I
I'm
didn't.
in front.
Greg Capullo. See?
Greg Capullo, yep.
And
Frank Miller.
there you go.
Get that.
All right.
Get that Frank Miller shine.
Yeah, well, we're talking about these, ladies and gentlemen, because this week, Saturday, is Batman Day.
Batman Day.
Batman
yes.
Day. So these are freebies.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be giving these out on Saturday. Yeah, check them out.
Lots of freebies for
ass.
Saturday. We always go
There's
big
also-
for Batman Day,
Always go big for. Last year we kind of messed up because we had a Comic-Con the same day.
but we played it right.
We played it right.
Yep.
We did.
We handed out coupons at the Comic-Con, the local Comic-Con we were at, and they went from the Comic-Con to the store and got 15% off anything Batman.
I think we got 15% off everything because we weren't here to make sure.
Probably.
Catwoman mask also.
Yeah. So come to Cadets Toys and
What
get
artist is this?
Oh,
Yeah, good luck. Be shocked if you get any of these.
yeah. Don't even know. Just
This
go
is
through.
Joelle Jones,
Okay.
which I love her artwork.
Just do it.
Neil Adams. Same guy that did the Batman, the Joker one.
Okay.
Bruce Timm. And last but not least, yeah, you'll never get this one.
Well,
Who is this,
trying.
Matt? You know who this is?
I don't, but I had the Joel Jones one right.
Of course you did. Darwin Cook.
All right. Well, there's their little trivia flashcard section of the show.
And that was fun.
Yeah. So Batman Day this Saturday, we're gonna have all these fun little giveaways.
So these are like, I was looking at these earlier. These
Yeah.
are giveaways too, y'all. These are giveaways.
figurines. Yeah.
I'm thinking Lunar has 15 warehouses filled with these to give away because they're from 2019.
That was before Lunar had anything to do with any of this.
Yeah, but they probably still got all the leftovers.
Yeah. They bought everything.
They got it from DC, bro. They didn't get it from, like Diamond didn't ship them. Hey, man, we didn't ship all these. Check this out. You know, DC sent like, hey, man, we got warehouses full of this stuff because we never sold it at Barnes & Noble or Books A Million or
Just send it.
Walgreens.
Try to sell it to the shop.
So a
get
couple
rid
other
of
freebies for the week. These are available all on Saturday. We've got some
it in the shop.
free comic books. Always have free comic books.
That's right.
Free comic books for Batman Day. This the Joker, Batman the Joker Deadly Duo Special Edition. And then this is Prelude to the Gotham War, so which is where Batman is.
Yep. Come get yours before they go to the dollar box.
Either it's free or
It lives in the dollar box for you whenever you want to come pick it up.
whenever you want to pick it up. I'm excited about Batman Day. It's going to be a cool one.
Always excited about Batman Day. You know, everybody always asks us who.
Are you going to do that costume thing?
If he brings a costume, I will.
Oh, man, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. Batman costume, Robin-sized dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'll do it. Corey Frizzell. Let's talk about this Hush special edition that's going to be coming out.
It's a foil, Joey.
It's a foil. This is, we were talking about 2023 year of the foil.
Can you do the shiny? Make it shiny.
Make it shiny.
Ching.
Bang. Yeah, there it goes.
Flip it on the back because that's really cool too.
Yeah. All right. It's Batman week. Let's talk about some
Let's
Batman.
talk about some Batman because this is going to be kind of a big topic of stuff we talk about today. But this week, kind of, I don't know if it's launches Dawn of DC. I think there's been a couple of books that Dawn of DC.
It
have
has
already-
been, yeah.
Yeah, Green Lantern, Green Arrow have already come. Shazam,
Shazam.
one has already been out. But this is a nice wraparound, you know, of Batman and Robin
Yep, we got the dynamic duo.
Now,
back
correct me if I'm
again.
wrong, Matt,
Damian
but
Wayne.
I think this is the first big team up of Batman and his son,
Damian.
Bruce and Damian.
Yeah.
Like where they're on the same page. Because
Right.
they had like Batman versus Robin,
Right.
which is where they weren't on the same page.
Yep.
But
Where they're working together and things are good. I
They-
read it. They're kind of working on their
they
relationship.
are. They are. They've had a very tumultuous relationship from day one. And
Tommy, I'm here for it because I would like to see Batman and Robin working together again and having some nice adventures.
how long
and
has
some
it actually
stories.
been since there was like Batman and Robin? Batman and Robin.
Like-
Is it
Well, it was last time I really read them was back in like the 2009, 2010.
before New 52
Yeah.
with Grant Morrison, with Dick Grayson and Damian as
Yeah.
Batman and Robin? There was that title, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was the last that I really read. So
That was a good run.
yeah, it was. I
I enjoyed those.
It
I'm
was
trying to think. Was there a Batman and Robin book in New 52? I'm trying to think if there was anything in Rebirth. I don't think they were.
Don't remember. I don't know.
Because like when Rebirth happened, like there was Super Sons.
It's
Because
kind of on a break.
Damian and John Kent were doing Super Sons early on, and that was. Then there was. Nightwing had his Nightwing run. And he was either there with the Titans.
Yeah.
There was a while they didn't know what to do with Tim Drake. He was just kind of like
They still don't know what to do with
No,
Tim
that's-
Drake.
they
Yeah.
ruined that character.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
this
Red
is
Hood's
good.
always been with that, like Red Hood and the Outlaws up until recently.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think this is a good Batman and Robin. I like what they're going to do.
I enjoyed it. Josh Williamson.
I'm excited to see the second issue of that. So yeah, come and get this first issue.
This
It's
is
good.
actually book of the
It's
week.
got some cool. Yeah.
This one we can put on the shelf Tuesday,
Yeah, and it's Batman week.
and it's got some pretty awesome variants. I thought there was more of that, but we got the two cool ones though.
Yeah.
White Rabbit.
White Rabbit on the
Got
cover.
your Art Germ White Rabbit.
Lots
That's your
of.
foil variant.
Yep.
I wonder how many Jeff Stone bought.
I don't know.
This is also
But
out this
people
week
will
for Batman.
definitely buy those.
They've
for
been
sure.
soliciting this too. This is a Black Label book. Batman, Gargoyle of Gotham.
Yeah. Who's the artist on that? It's I mean the art looks really cool, but it's Batman is drawn in a
The
different way.
same
His
guy that wrote it,
costume.
Raphael Grandpa.
Okay.
Grandpa. Is it Grandpa? 'Cause it's got like a
It's
little
definitely
asterisk over it. So
Well, it's definitely Grandpa. for
Grandpa.
sure.
How would you say that? Matt?
G-R-A-M-P-A.
Grandpa. Grandpa. I'm gonna know. Grandpa. Grampy.
Grandpa.
Grandpa.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. I'm going with Grandpa. buddy.
Couple of variants on this. This is the Noir edition. What's the difference in the Noir edition? Is it black and white? Of course it is.
Batman and Robin. So let's talk about Batman and Robin, Tommy.
Yeah, what's going on with Batman and Robin?
We're gonna get a movie.
Batman 2 is supposed to have Robin.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we already had a movie.
What are you talking about?
Batman and Robin.
97.
No.
Bat nipples.
So there's two
That's what he's
things going
talking
on.
about.
There's two. Did you mess that up? There's two things with Robin, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I usually am. You got Batman is supposed to have the second Batman, the Twilight Boy. What's his name?
Yeah. Yeah.
That one's supposed to have
Robert Pattinson.
a Robin,
Okay.
like an actual 12-year-old Robin
All right.
or 13, whatever. But they're also talking about Brave and the Bold.
Yeah, that's
But
what I
that
was
story,
thinking
if you're thinking of, is supposed to be about Bruce Wayne and Damian Wayne.
of. Yes.
And there's been some articles out there about how that could be, I don't want to use the word controversial, but confusing probably to the masses who don't know much about Batman and Robin.
Or doesn't know much about all the Robins,
There are
which
a lot of Robins.
you don't even have to go there. And then
Can you name all the Robins?
yeah. But I think with this particular movie that, you can pick a Robin, that's fine. Doesn't have to be Damian, but Damian is just fine. I think it'd be good. It has a nice dynamic there.
Yeah, well, we looked at that article earlier, and they were basically like, oh, they're going to confuse everybody. Like, where's Nightwing? Where's Red Hood? Where's Tim Drake?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Carrie Kelly.
Carrie Kelly's wouldn't be with them.
Well, I'm just saying, if you want to go through all the Robins, I'm just saying, like, I mean, you don't have to go there because that we've talked so many times about just how they muddy the water, trying to bring too many characters in there and having to have their backstories, or just it just bogs everything down.
You got. Have you ever sat and done this where you like, we have customers come in there all the time and they're like, well, where's a good place to jump on? Or I don't want to read that book because I don't know where things are going on. Like this Batman and Robin story is probably a place to jump on.
Yeah, we've kind of needed one of those for Batman.
Or where the Gotham War starts is a place to jump on, because they're gonna show you characters like Tim Drake and Jason Todd and Dick Grayson and Batgirl, and you're gonna be like, who are these people? But at the same time, you could read it and still probably enjoy it just for what it is, But I never really thought about it, man, because we've had these whole lifetime of seeing Robins evolve, come and go. I can't imagine like jumping onto a comic book today and going, man, there's a lot of. And it's not just Batman and Robin. I mean, think about all the people that have been called Green Lantern.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, so many Green Lantern titles.
So it's like, and don't even get me started on Marvel comics because they're so confusing. It's like, where would you even start?
Well, you've just got, and it's getting tougher because they keep rebooting and doing new.
When in doubt,
ones. Yeah,
start over.
Yeah, make it
which is what this Dawn of DC is doing. It's going. A lot of these are going back to number one.
It's fine if it's productive and it's a good reset and gets everybody off on the right track. I think it's definitely needed. That's for sure. And just with Batman or just people coming in and asking for good jumping on points with these different titles. Now, me personally, I've been able to point him in the right direction on here's a really good story, here's a really good, Nightfall or Hush or just some of these but it's, Court of Owls, but it's not like a jumping on point. It's just a good Batman story. And there's been so much Batman.
Man, I had a long talk with Chuck the other day about the fact that it's been so long since there was actually like a good story, and I think Court of Owls may actually be the last one.
Yeah,
since there's been like a good story arc, especially in the DC world.
And that was new.
I don't know about Marvel,
right?
Because that's Matt. What would be the last good story in Marvel? Like a story arc, like Nightfall or Hush, or
Yeah, we lean DC over here.
We're so DC heavy on me and Joey are. House of M.
I mean, honestly,
House of M.
House of M is great. That's going back pretty far.
Civil War II.
No, Civil War II is trash. Sorry, it was.
What's that? That Thor. There was that one that had Thor that everybody was kind of into.
Actually, Powers of X.
Powers of X and House of X were pretty.
That was good. It was going in the right direction. And then
they just derailed at the end.
Yeah.
Kind of like everything.
I mean, that's got that story's got some panels in it that I rank like all-time great panels. I mean, it's just got some great moments in it. I mean, like genius moments in it. But as a whole, it's just really good. But it's not great. It's not like House of M great. But you got to dive deep in Marvel.
Well, I mean, but like some of these stories were kind of self-contained in some senses. Like they didn't drag out forever. I mean, I guess you could argue No Man's Land and Batman, but for some reason that worked. Not a lot of comic books can do what that did. That actually covered several titles, but it also was like the main Batman book, Detective Comics, Robin, Nightwing. But some of those didn't come into play. Azrael was actually a big one in that one. There were so many of these little one shots. Because it took me almost 2.5 years to collect every issue of that thing.
Wow.
I mean, the best Batman stories the ones that stick out to me recently are out of continuity, like White Knight. Those are some of the best stories that have been outside of continuity.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, when we were talking, we weren't thinking about these what I would call Elseworld books or these out of continuity story arcs. Because one could argue the Dark Knight Returns is out of continuity for sure, but it technically takes place in the future.
Right. Yeah. Old Batman and Superman.
But you know, as far as like if you're reading the stories and like these things are a part of the main canon of Batman, you know, like, you know, Nightfall obviously was one that was big. Death in the Family was a big one early on. You know, The Long Halloween was a good one, but I think that wasn't in the main story arcs. It was just sort of an offshoot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like when someone asks for something, I can point them in these.
Of course, Killing Joke wasn't necessarily the main storyline too. It was a one shot, you know.
Well, yeah, but that stuck.
Just one book, but
that went into canon though, and you know that.
Well, it had
condition
massive effects to the whole storyline.
Yeah.
After that, but no, but like Court of Owls was it. You know, it crossed over to a few.
That was
Batman
New 52, right?
New 52.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But I think that also begs a different thing too. It's like, how long did somebody like Scott Snyder have a story like that in their toolbox? Like, all right, I'm going to bust this story out, right? And it's going to be awesome. And it was awesome, right? Everybody loved these characters they introduced, the Talon, you know, the whole court, you know, all these characters that just sort of kind of popped up. And the story itself was so ingrained, like, oh, so let me see this side of Gotham City, you know. How long did somebody like Scott Snyder have that in his back pocket, you know? And how many times can somebody like that repeat that level of storytelling and be consistent? You know, this goes back to what, you know, we used to talk about. Matt and I would talk, the Jack Black effect, where you'd have like one really good moment and you try to recreate that in Hollywood over and over again. And sometimes, when I say to Scott Snyder a bad writer, because he's not, because some of his, I've loved Noctera, I've loved a ton of other stories he's done that had nothing to do with DC Comics, you know.
Right.
But as far as the character of Batman, how many times can you know, hit a home run with that type of a story, you know? Because like you think all these other, like, I don't know, Jeff Loeb did. Kind of got up there and started knocking them out of the park, you know.
Jeff Loeb is good.
He's top shelf, man. I mean, he did Year One, Long Halloween, Dark Victory. Didn't he do Year One?
Did he do Dark Victory?
He did Dark Victory and Long Halloween, which were two awesome stories.
Is it Year One Frank Miller?
Yep.
It is. Yep.
That is correct.
Yeah. So it's
still, those are two. Those books are really good. And then, you know, he does something like Hush, which was.
Well, it just goes back to it. It's just like when somebody asks for a Batman book, I can point them to really good stories, but like saying it's a jumping on point, it's not. So
no.
Yeah. So it's good. I want to really have, you know, with this Dawn of DC, Superman's been good so far, not as good as I wanted it to be. I really want them to do, you know, well by some of like especially I think Superman and Wonder Woman really need some good stories behind them to get those things moving.
Well, the Wonder Woman's coming out soon.
Because
I think the FOC on that's today.
No, it was
last week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I did that one, but yeah, it's. Did you do FOCs today?
No, I didn't. We got to do that tonight.
Right. So I've got an alarm set. So yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah, but
right before you go to bed, you're like dozing off. Oh, FOC.
That'll wake me up completely. Yeah, if I have that kind of a jolt to my system, but yeah, I did because you know, there's an opportunity here with Dawn of DC. I just want them to, you know, like really take some of these characters that they could do a lot with that are, I mean, you know, when you see DC, you've got Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman are right there at the forefront.
I have my doubts about this whole James Gunn universe.
Yeah.
I don't have the faith in it that maybe a younger generation or other people who like Suicide Squad or Peacemaker. Like, I think he did a good job with the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. The other two, not so much. I didn't like Suicide Squad, and I couldn't get into Peacemaker. I just didn't get the jokes. You know, I was just like, it's not, I just don't think it's not for me. Now, some people love it. So maybe maybe the masses out there will dig this new direction, but not feeling it.
I don't know. I mean, I really hope, I really, really hope it's good because, you know, we've got some big movies coming up with some big characters and, you know, I just want them to be simple, not try to do too much. Like, have your villain, have your, you know, your Batman and your Robin.
James Gunn is notorious for pulling a character out of obscurity and trying to make them and mainline them. And it's not, that cannot work all the time.
Well, it just goes to, like, if you have too many Robins and you try to set that up in this movie, it's
I agree. That's not going to work.
It's not going to work. It's the same way if you're trying to bring characters out of the woodwork, you know. So,
and to be clear, with the exception of Burt Ward, like, of course, back then there was only one Robin,
right?
You know, but like, they've all, like, Chris O'Donnell had elements of all three Robins at the time, you know, and
Did you like him as a Robin?
No.
I didn't.
No, not really. I didn't like Chris O'Donnell as an actor.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I thought it was kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Holy rusted metal, Batman.
Yeah.
No, it's metal. It's rusty and it's full of holes. What? That was such a bad line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, when I was in the theater watching Batman and Robin, it was just, there were people.
Batman Forever or Batman and Robin?
Not Batman Forever.
Okay.
Now, I like Batman Forever, but Batman and Robin.
Pretty bad.
I mean, it was comedically bad. It was just like, you know, B movie, bad movie night bad. Like, just from bat nipples all the way down to just all the lines. And it's like they were not taking themselves seriously at all whatsoever. It was just, they were really trying to go that direction of the movie being corny. And
they rode that corn train.
And then you learn about Joel Schumacher a little bit later in life, some of his ways and things he likes, and then you're like, that makes sense now. Some of the stuff in that movie. So, yeah.
I was excited. It was like what we were talking about earlier.
Anytime there's a Batman movie,
you're going to go watch it.
We get excited. We got excited for Flash, even though it had
it was 3 hours of our life we'll never get back.
Yeah, in it. Even though it had him in it.
We asked those kids. We'd say, hey, we went and saw Flash. They go, oh, did you like it? We're like, not really. And they're like, why not, man? It was awesome. We're like, what did you like about it?
Yeah.
Well, it had Batman in it. Is that it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that was the only endearing part of the whole movie.
Yeah. I just think we need to get away
from it. We had it on in the shop the other day, and I was like, what in the...
We got to get away from multiverse stuff for a little bit. Just give that a break. Just let's make these movies simple. It's all right. I love humor. Put some well-placed humor in it.
Well, you know, I get in the arguments. Well, I don't really get in arguments.
But not funny
for
the sake of being funny.
When people ask me if I like the Batman with Robert Pattinson,
yeah.
Right? I'm like, yes, I liked the movie. It was a good story. It was a good detective story. Here's my issues with it. I've said this before. Take Batman out of the story, put Sherlock Holmes in the story. It's the same story. All right. In my opinion.
That's a good detective story.
All right.
Yeah.
Guy's still a detective. You put Detective Chimp in there, it's the same story. You put Flash in there, it's the same story. All right.
Yeah.
Batman, the character, didn't bring much to that story arc. All right. Bruce Wayne, the character, didn't bring much to that story arc. Which goes to my second problem with it. When Bruce Wayne, because this whole movie's about his early days and learning to be the Batman, to become the hero that Gotham needs, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't appreciate the turn. There was not a very strong turn of him becoming the hero. It was very subtle, and it was almost missed. So I didn't appreciate it. That's my second problem. Third problem with it was I couldn't stand Paul Dano.
Well, and the fourth, he says, "I'm vengeance." And that was lame.
No, that part was dumb. But I'm talking. But my other thing was Paul Dano, because I think Paul Dano is Paul Dano, no matter what movie he's in.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just don't think I didn't like the direction of the Riddler as the Zodiac killer. I didn't think any of that was cool. Now, some positive notes.
Dressed up like the Sandman.
I did think the Batmobile at that particular time for that particular story was pretty awesome. Because if I'm Bruce Wayne and I'm in my 20s, I got a boatload of money. What kind of Batmobile am I going to make? I'm going to build a hot rod that's got all kinds of gadgets, right?
Right.
And I thought that was pretty cool,
More of a regular-ish looking car.
I think Colin Farrell's Penguin might be one of the best Batman villain portrayals next to Heath Ledger's Joker. I mean, it's pretty good.
Next to Ledger, his Joker, yeah.
Like, if you could have had Heath Ledger's Joker and Colin Farrell's Penguin in a film, pretty solid.
Yeah. Colin Farrell's good in almost everything.
But he was really good as the Penguin, though.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't even know it was him. That's how good that to me would have been a better villain pulling the strings behind the scenes than throwing in the Zodiac killer.
So the next Batman, I guess that's kind of under James Gunn too.
So I think we got two things going on here. I think they're going to do another Matt Reeves
Okay.
with Robert Pattinson.
And we're doing another Joker movie.
Correct.
And that's kind of off here over to in the
I think it
Vertigo
is-
world.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's got Lady
Elseworldy.
Gaga coming in as Harley Quinn.
I'm here for it.
So wait a second.
Wait.
So we're doing another Matt Reeves Batman, but we're also doing this other Batman.
Brave and the
Robin.
Bold.
So those are two.
Yes.
So we're gonna have another movie with another Batman.
Yes.
Or I'm sorry, another Matt Reeves with Pattinson Batman, and then another Batman movie with a different Batman.
I think that's correct. Yes.
Yeah, totally.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
we're excited.
because we don't. I mean, people can't be confused enough when you're watching this crap. Stuff, great stuff, good stuff, awesome stuff. No, I think it's good.
Hey, we're not in the movie business. We're in the comic book business. We can crap all over the movies all we want to.
Well, I do think it'll. I thought about this too. It's like when they were talking about James Gunn having a new Batman, having a new Superman. You know, we grew up in this world where like comic book movies were not mainstream and they were not the norms. So for pretty much up until 2006, 2004, what year was that Superman Returns came out? Christopher Reeves was Superman.
Mm-hmm.
And he was, the actor himself was always referred to as Superman. Always referred to as Superman.
Still is.
Still is. He is the Superman. All right. And even though there were two Batman actors before Adam West was always Batman up until Michael Keaton.
Right.
Right.
Because there
And-
were 25 years between them.
And I bet you would be hard pressed to find people other than not in the nerd world that would even recognize the fact that Val Kilmer was Batman at some point, or George Clooney. You know. My point being is like we're so used to like this one actor. Like we're used to William Shatner being Captain Kirk. All right.
We are.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. He's Captain Kirk. Now there's been multiple Captain Kirk since then. All right. But all our lives, that was Captain Kirk. Leonard Nimoy was Mr. Spock. You know, you get my point. Mark Hamill is Luke Skywalker. All right. So every time another actor takes on the mantle, it's like, are they going to do it justice? Are they going to be as, they're going to always have this comparison as like, well, it's not as good as this one, you know? But if you watch like Batman 89, man, there's some corny stuff in that movie.
Definitely. Yeah.
But
there's some, yeah.
But there's also some brilliantly great stuff in there, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think our version and our reality with this and our perspective is
just think
so
about how much we
different
would,
from
if we'd have
somebody 30
watched,
years
if we'd have
old.
come across that movie today, would we have the same emotional attachment to it? Or we go, man, this is some crap.
Yeah, I mean, we would totally do that. But also at the same time, I was talking to Matt about this. Like, because my parents, they'll sit and watch Turner Classic Movies constantly. And, you know, I'll try to, like, I'll see something good, and sometimes I want to, you know, to watch it with them. And, my mom and dad would like this. But a lot of times they don't. And it's like, you know, you think you know their sensibilities and kind of the stuff they'd like, but it's just like, you know, they don't like it. It's just like as you get to these certain ages, like I feel like they do, and maybe your parents do, they just sit around and watch. They say
The same old thing.
to heck with it. Your mom watches Little House on the Prairie
All
the
day
time.
long. If it ain't
my
Discovery Channel, ID Channel, you know, murder shows, it's like
My parents
Little
watch
House.
things that they saw at the movies in the 40s and the 50s and a little bit of the 60s stuff when they were young adults, you know, and then after that, you know, they really don't.
So do you
have
think
much
like
to do
when
with
the
it.
80s were going on, like they would like watch Back to the Future and go, I don't get it. I'm not into this.
Probably a little bit, yeah. So
Or they saw Star Wars.
there's
and
probably
like,
little-
This is kind of weird.
Yeah, there's probably stuff like kind of here and there that was good, just like we were talking about. If it's good, it's good. Like when we were little and we didn't know anything about the hero's journey or any of those things, like we still liked these movies because we liked these movies. And
So-
like Matt said, there's this thing inherent
We're gonna be in the-
inside of you.
Can you imagine what the nursing home's going to be like? You know, we're all going to be sitting around.
Star Wars, yeah. Flipping tables when somebody gets something wrong about a character in Star Wars.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Somebody has a hot take about, you know, a character or somebody from Clone Wars being a better Jedi than someone, you know, else. And yeah, I could see it. I could see it happening. We argue. So people argue sports and ours argue nerd stuff. But yeah, maybe that's just what it is. It's just the whole perspective thing, because our younger customers like these movies.
They like the movies. They like the
books. They like
all the
some
books,
stories.
too.
But their reality is different. Maybe they haven't seen all the stuff and all the things that we
Well,
that we like.
I think this big shout out to Mason. Mason put it in perspective very well. He goes, I do not have the frame of reference you have.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's like you have to consider that when people walk in here.
Phantom Menace was first Star Wars for him.
Probably no.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, probably later, like Clone Wars probably was.
Probably.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're in a generation where the first big Star Wars movie they saw was The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, ooh.
Right.
I don't think there's no way they go like, oh, this is awesome. But I don't know. They don't have the same jumping on point, you know. Their comparison is very different than what we know.
Well, this most recent.
However, then you got
Brooke
back here. Hold on. Brooke back here saying movies aren't as good today as they were. All right. Obviously saying the same thing. It's like, if she's saying it, we're saying it. What's wrong here? You know, what's wrong? You wrote some stuff down about that too.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was the get off my lawn section of the show where I was complaining, but this show's kind of turned into that anyway. So
The get off my lawn.
Yeah.
Is that what that's it?
Yeah.
Get off my. Is that what that stands for?
Yeah, yeah. Because it's just like, you know, just my kid and the attention span with TikTok and like I can't get my kid to watch all these great movies that I know she would like.
I don't know if you get into Smokey and the Bandit, bro.
Probably not. But I could get, you know, we could do E.T. or, you know,
Is there any movie that she would like? You maybe like think, okay, you're like, this is a home run. She's going to watch it. What movie would that be? And then you sat her down and she didn't like it.
That's what I'm saying. I have a hard time getting her into.
Have you tried showing her horror movies?
No. I do think she will like horror movies at some point in time. Because she kind of follows us. I would watch a movie at her age because I didn't have like all this stuff in YouTube and short clips of everything. Even the episodic stuff, like the when she was younger, she was watching Bluey.
Yeah, I remember
those are 10-minute
really
episodes. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Not even 15. They were 15 for a little while, but like, yeah, they put those.
Yeah, I remember when Eli was little, they had those. Yeah, a lot of those cartoons were like 15. They were like two and a half hour.
2.5 hour.
Two different stories.
Yeah, and now they're like 3 because that's getting smaller.
Have you ever watched G.I. Joe lately? Or like even Mask? Like
yeah.
Mask?
Yeah.
Like the way those stories are built is a little like, there's some adult concepts in there. I'm like, did we just think this was cool and we just we had no concept actually what they were talking about, but we just watched it because the
characters.
The Camaro turned into a plane and flew off, or they had the cool helmets. And
I mean, it's 100% that, back then.
But I was actually watching it the other day, and I was like, man, that's like pretty adult. They were talking about like some deep concepts and how the voice actors presented the character, and it was some very, very polished stuff. Where like today, it's like, yeah, you know, it's like a lot of crazy stuff. But
Mask will be back.
Do you remember that character's name?
I don't. Was that the little robot?
No, that character.
Was that Piranha?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Piranha was the name of the vehicle.
Okay. I don't remember the guy's name.
The guy's name was, I only asked this because I don't want to say, I think his name is Sly.
Okay. The voice actor's name?
No, the actual character.
Oh, the character. Okay.
Hey,
gotcha.
Look up Mask.
Yeah.
Mask.
The bumpers would be Mask will be back in the morning.
Not the movie with the kid from with Cher.
Rocky Dennis.
Yeah. Mask. Mobile Armor Strike Command. There you go. Click on the TV series.
Yeah, so we oh gosh, this is gonna take forever.
Slyrax.
Slyrax?
That's 2 words.
Okay. So that's a character, Slyrax, and he was voiced by
Mark Halloran. That's what it looks like.
Halloran. Okay.
I wonder whatever.
But I
those voice actors did a lot of cartoons back then.
Yes, you could close your eyes. Yeah,
close your eyes and be like, "That's Cobra Commander." You know.
Yeah, definitely.
Which I'm pretty sure is the same voice actor that did Starscream.
I can't remember, though. It sounds like he was trying to sound like some 80s actor or character. I don't know if it's Don Johnson or from Miami Vice or something. Hey. But, man, God.
I don't know how we got off on this tangent.
Yeah, well, we were talking about just attention spans and just getting like.
Yeah, we don't have those either.
Well, we were talking about that too. It's just like now we watch a movie, and because I think back, what did we do back before we had these phones? You know, it's hard to even remember life like before that. You remember things, but just trying to put yourself through a day, and when you like, oh, so and so didn't answer their phone, and then you see him 5 hours later. It's like, oh, I tried calling you earlier. Yeah. Now it'd drive you crazy. What are they doing? Why aren't they answering their phone? But like,
movies were.
Well, hold on. I was just gonna say, like, when we're watching a movie now, what do? Like, you picking up your phone. You're like, oh, I've seen them in something before, and you have to go look at their IMDb, see who they are,
yeah.
and this is just playing off, or they make some reference or some side character. Maybe it's a historical movie or a piece or something like that, and you got this. Oh, wonder what happened to this person. I did it last night when they were doing Lorcana. I was watching the Lakers show on HBO.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't know. I wanted to know what happened to not Paul Westphal, but the coach that had the bike wreck.
Yeah.
I was like, did he die? Because I hadn't gotten
he didn't
that
die.
far into it. So it was just like, yeah. It's like, did he die or did
No, he gets through it. He just.
Yeah, he was in a coma for a few days, but I didn't wait to see that play out. I was like, oh, did this guy die? I looked him up, and he's like, oh, no, he's fine. He's
I think he went on to coach another team.
Yeah, he did. But that when you're watching the show, it's just like he's hanging on for life, So I had to look right then and there and see what happened to him. So yeah, we're as bad as the kids are.
Well, but for the sake of conversation, that's not a comic book movie, but that show is fantastic.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
It's very dramatic, but it's very adult. But I really, really am enjoying that show. Not just for the nostalgic reasons of Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, but just how they used, just the historical aspects of how they took pretty much a dying business and made it what it is today. And, that form of sports entertainment.
Yeah.
Just to have that vision at that time to go, like, there was like.
It's like, let's put some women in this.
Well, think
dancing
about,
out in
like the Laker girls. Like, that was not a thing before then, and it's like.
Let's tell her this girl named Paula Abdul.
I remember when Paula Abdul was big and on her music career, we're like, oh yeah, she was a Laker girl. And like everybody knew that, but you didn't really know like where she fit into the timeline. It's like,
well, it came out that she was like with because she was famous, and they would like tell these little backstories or whatever, or in those little teen books where you get the posters that say all this stuff. Right. But like it was she was popular in music before you ever knew anything about all that stuff.
Well.
But yeah, she was one of the first Laker girls. So, they brought.
But that movie's good. That's a good story.
That's a good show. That's good storytelling. So,
and they also do some creative. I told Matt this because Matt liked to talk about editing. I think they do some, especially in season 1. Not as much in season 2, but in season 1 they did some very creative fourth wall breaks and stuff like that really made the storytelling dynamic. And I think it's one of those rare instances where you can do that. Break the story formula and it actually works.
Mm-hmm.
Because not everybody can pull that off, and I think they did a good job with that. So, big shout out to that show.
Well, on that, because I know we're going all over the place here,
but at least we're talking.
But the Fire and Ice comic that came out this last week with DC.
Oh yeah.
They did Smallville. Well, I took one of those home to show Abigail because Abigail's an aspiring little writer. She's writing stories, so I was wanting to show her. Like, it was a cool thing because you open up the panel there, and it just has the two characters breaking the fourth wall, talking about, hey, this is a story about us. You probably don't know who we are, but this is who we are and what we do and why we're here. So, hope you like the story or whatever. And it's a cool way to, I thought it was a cool little tool there to show Abigail, like, these little things that she can use in writing. Because I'll take little stuff that I see from time to time and take it home and show it to her. Some of these animal-based books, superheroes and stuff that are animals, because that's what she's writing right now.
Talk about two characters that were super obscure.
What's that?
Fire and Ice.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. And they understood that, and that's what I'm saying. It was a really creative way to bring two obscure characters and show them first off, break the fourth wall, and they're saying, hey, you never heard of us. So, Yeah, I like to show her little stuff like that. So, going way back to whatever we were talking about before.
Storytelling.
Talking
about attention span. You know, but I was going to say, movies, if you really go back and look at it, the traditional movie was around 90 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right, Matt? Roughly? I remember, like...
Generally speaking, that was a target that they're trying to...
Yeah. I remember going to I went to see something. This was in college or after college. And there was... I want to say it was... Gods and Generals.
Mm-hmm.
That film was in the theater, and there was a sign on the door that said, this movie, basically said this movie's so long it has an intermission. I remember thinking to myself, like, golly, this must be what, 8 hour
movie. Yeah,
it was like, it literally wasn't even 3.
Oh, okay.
You know, but at the time, you know, now we're so accustomed to 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
You know, pretty much.
still long.
But if the movie is good, you don't really notice it, right? As bad. But
Matt, Tommy, I just remembered the movie that Abigail sat the longest through and watched, my 10-year-old, 11-year-old now, at the time, Superman 78.
the first one,
The first one.
she sat and watched it.
She watched it, yeah.
Have you ever noticed in the shop, if you put on Batman 66 on a Saturday, you ever watch the kids?
No, I don't think so.
We had it going on in here one day on the
Yeah.
screen, and kind of looked up from the register, and there was like 6 kids kind of just like,
Really?
they were loving it.
Wow.
Because it's so corny.
Yeah, it is.
And there is that animated part of it that really makes, that's why I feel so strongly about these things. This right here is not the direction to take DC Comics.
Dark and brooding.
Dark and brooding is over for me. We've been
Yeah.
doing this for almost 40 years.
But Frank Miller,
Back in the 80s,
Yeah, that was a breath of, I guess you'd call it, fresh air.
yes, at the time.
Right.
Yeah, at the time it was all camp before that. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think Denny O'Neil and them were really trying to do some good stuff. You
Yep.
know,
Agreed.
Frank Miller really took it to another level, and it's been like that ever since. That's like the standard for comic books these days. Is can you make it as dark and gritty and as shock and awe as possible?
Well, it was the
But everybody,
Yeah.
you know what everybody here wants to read? World's Finest, because it's fun.
it's back. Yeah,
They want to read the fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with so much
What it
craziness
should be.
going on in the world, that's what you need in comic books. If you want to bring new audience members on, if you want to get kids excited about, we can't even share a mainstream comic book with a kid because they're like, we don't know. We haven't read it. We don't know what's in it.
Yep.
Is it going to have cussing? Is it going to have some kind of a relationship that people's parents may or may not want them exposed to? And we're like, we don't know. Such a chaotic time to try to introduce new readers to this stuff.
Yes, it is.
You
Yeah.
know?
You if you haven't read it,
And you can
can't-
kind of see where at the time why something like the Comics Code of Authority was actually necessary.
Yeah. And they don't. I don't guess they have to put ratings on these because half the time they don't, or if they do, it's
They
really
haven't
hard to
done that.
find.
They don't do that anymore. They haven't done that since the 70s,
Well, you'll see
the
some,
80s, whenever they
some,
stopped using the comic code.
but it's not consistent. No. I'm not saying the comic code. I'm just saying like the ratings. Like
They don't have ratings.
The MA or the T.
They don't have ratings, do they, Matt?
Some of them do.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know who's most consistent with. Yeah, it says ages.
Oh, I didn't really pay
13
attention
plus.
to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
13 and up.
Yeah. 13 and up. So,
Wonder what keeps it like being PG-13 there.
I don't know. I don't know about that one. I don't feel like I've read that. I don't think that's the same.
You think it's the violence in this? There's
maybe
violence
but they
in
just
these?
need to let us
There's
know
a man dressed
what
up
it
like a
is.
bat beating the crap out of people across the city,
I don't know.
throwing people off a roof.
But was that like the anti-hero that we've kind of gotten into?
That's so 90s.
Yeah, but was it Frank Miller that kind of was it that kind of brought that kind of
One
gave
of the first big
gave that
anti-heroes
birth?
was,
But they made Batman a little bit of an anti-hero, and he never had been before.
well, I think if you think about characters like the Punisher,
to be fair, he started out that way.
who?
Batman.
He did start out that way. He was very violent in the very beginning.
But were they telling that story?
Not well. You gotta understand, it's different language, different time period, different settings.
Well, he had a gun.
But no, not always. He wasn't opposed to using guns. He didn't pack a gun like he did in year 2. But he had no problem throwing somebody off a roof and watching them fall to their death. You
Yeah.
know? And he would say things like, "It's no more than you deserve, criminal," or something like that. But there was a little bit. He definitely had more of a brutality to him, and I think DC introduced somebody like Robin because they were definitely trying to attract younger readers. And then, of course, that went off in the left field, and people just said, "Oh, this guy's sleeping with a kid in the same bed. It's weird." And then stuff like the Comics Code Authority. But that sort of dragged out through the 60s is all this weird, corny stuff because they knew kids were going to read it, and it had to be goofy.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
They were playing it safe.
And it wasn't until, I think, like Denny O'Neil and them, I think with that Speedy cover where he's shooting the drugs.
Yeah.
They didn't run it by the
It's a
Comics
junkie.
Code. They just did it. And said, "Here we go." And then once they did it once, Marvel was like, "Oh, they didn't do it. We're not going to do it either."
Yeah. And then off to the races.
So then all of a sudden it was like, sky's the limit. And it just got to the point where somebody like Frank Miller came along and said, "You know what? This is a story that needs to be told." And truthfully, man, that's not even one of my favorite Batman stories.
Mm-mm. Well, when we were trying to get it and read it and like it, we didn't understand it. This is in the back.
We were just like, everybody says this is the book to have. And we're like,
yeah,
okay, I don't understand what's going
we
on.
went with that, yeah. I remember it had
The
girls with
artwork.
swastikas on their boobs. So
Yes.
and we were like,
That's the thing.
ooh. Yeah. Yeah.
But it definitely made for a better, made better stories.
Indeed.
Because
Well,
Batman got a little bit more brutal once Jason Todd died, and like,
well, I'm just hoping DC takes this and goes that direction. Any of these new
but do you
fresh
think it's
starts,
possible to make a Batman story that's not dark and gritty anymore? Do you think anybody's got the ability?
Yeah, I think they do. But, we got Mark Waid. So,
I honestly feel like
I mean, and people.
this is an argument maybe for a later date, but I do feel like probably one of the best representations of the Batman character going into Batman Week, and all the characters go with him, was the animated series, because it was just dark enough, just the right kind of story, just the right kind of characters, just the right kind of lightheartedness to really kind of attract kids and adults alike, because everybody was a fan of that show.
Yep, absolutely, I agree.
Matt, you agree?
100%.
Disagree? Argue? Counter argument? Nope.
No, nothing.
Got nothing, huh? You didn't watch Batman the animated series?
No, I kind of missed that. I think I was in college at that time.
Well, I was too, but I definitely made time to watch it sometimes.
Yep. Well, I want, with every new start like this, Dawn of DC, I want them to get it back on track and tell stories. But, it's the same writers. So, what you going to do? That's what we have. We just, if you can write a story
What
like
are you going
that,
to do
write a
is you're
story
going to
like
you're going to be Art Germ.
that. Yeah, and just say, I know what makes the money.
I know what
son.
makes the money, son.
Yeah, I know what brings the boys. Yep. He does, and he's good at it. So, man, we sell the heckin' crap out of
Art Germ foils.
Yeah, Art Germ anything. Yeah.
Why are foil comics such a thing? It's like the year of the foil and the facsimiles.
Well, I don't know, but it's, people buy them, so I'm cool with it.
But what's the appeal?
I don't know.
Because didn't we go down this road?
Is it FOMO? Is it, or is it?
Why is a foil so popular? You buy a lot of foils. Virgin foils.
But this is, the 90s, they did this. This is what they did. They started with, the gimmicky stuff, which I don't have any problem with making foils and people buying them.
Yeah, but honestly, man, if you look at the art on this particular book here, I kind of feel like the art pops more on
Definitely.
the non-foil.
Definitely.
So what's the appeal of a foil? I mean, I
The
get it.
non-foils definitely look better in slabs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why is the foil so like? Why is everybody like, well, let's foil that bad boy? Is it just to have another book out there that make money? Gimmick?
I think it is, and I think they might be playing on 90s nostalgia. I don't know. Since you just asked that, I've been kind of doing.
It's either 90s nostalgia or the 90s.
Is that why you got so quiet?
Yeah, I don't have a good answer.
Or the 90s playbook. It's either the 90s nostalgia or 90s playbook.
Well, who's running the 90s playbook in DC Comics right now? Is it Jim Lee?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, well, I don't know. I mean, the playbook was, okay, we're not selling these books and we have to start, killing people and we have to
Pretty
start.
damn dope.
It is. We have to start killing people. We have to start making things more shiny. You know, when the quality is not there, you got to do gimmicks and quantity, and that's kind of what happens. So
I'd be curious to learn about how they're actually teaching storytelling.
Yeah, I would too, because you know they're not like we are pro. We want the stories to be good, but they're just not helping us out as comic book shop owners. They are just not doing. They're not doing much for us because we can't.
Especially not Marvel.
We can't control what they write. We put it on our walls and hope people like it and come back and buy number 2 and 3 and 4. And you know, so.
And I will say the biggest. I mean, we're at issue 15 now with World's Finest, and people still love that book.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Waid is, and he's an old school writer.
Yeah.
So, and people said they liked the Shazam book. For some reason I missed getting on that. I read the Green Lantern book, which is not Mark Waid. I read the Green Arrow book, which I enjoyed those 2 stories. I still have. I mean, I read the Green Arrow 3 comes out this week, so I've already read it, and it's still pretty good.
Okay.
Chuck says Shazam's good, so if Chuck says it's good, it's probably pretty good, or he wouldn't buy it.
Yeah, I just wouldn't naturally gravitate to say I'm going to read that Shazam book. I would have to have the mind of, okay, I own a comic shop. I need to read Shazam and see what's going on. So that's the only way I would have come across Shazam.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because he's like bootleg Superman to me.
Really?
You know? I mean, he kind of always has, you know, but that's just also I'm ignorant of Shazam. I know more about him than I did.
Well, it's because the
coming in
movies.
all this, yeah. But it's not.
You know, the Shazam family was very different in the 40s.
Yeah. So.
They even had a rabbit. You know that, right?
I don't know. I don't think I knew that.
I think it was a rabbit.
But I want him to do these, you know, the Mount Rushmore.
What, in your opinion, Matt, we're going to go round table on this one, though. But what, in your opinion, makes a good story? We'll wrap this up with this.
Okay. I like simplicity in, I don't like
this is the good guy. This is the bad guy.
This is the good guy. This is the bad guy. This bad guy has a motive that he thinks is noble, and he feels like he's doing the right thing, even though he's doing the wrong thing. And you know, the hero has to. He just doesn't kick his butt. He has to figure out how to take care of this problem, and. Yeah, I just like a clear-cut good guy and bad guy for the most part, and you know, going through the struggles, having to figure out what's going on, having to figure out what the problem is, and some mystery there and some detective work. But yeah, pretty much, you know, you could add the elements of, you know, a love interest in there. You know, people like that. That's a good thing to watch. Like some of the best.
You're not a big romance. Watch a lot of romance stories.
No, but but it does. If it's well placed in a story, then yeah.
You don't have a favorite romantic movie?
Gosh,
I know you're like a horror guy.
Yeah.
You know, in the. I'm genuinely. I think I've ever asked you this question.
Yeah. Love stories.
Yeah. What's your favorite love movie?
God, I couldn't even. I just never have. Couldn't tell you a good rom-com or whatever. I'd have to think about that one.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, but like with the Han Solo and the Leia thing, you know, when it's kind of here and it's, you know, off to the side and it's just a little bit of a side story. That's placed like that within a good movie. I do like that. That's cool. It's like a little feel-good thing on top of the you know, on top of the good story that you're watching. So. What is it?
Just thinking about Matt over there. He's about to bust at the seams. All right, Matt, what you got?
I don't bust at the seams or anything like that. I'm just saying. I just want to see a character put everything they hold dear, everything they know, everything that they believe in on the line. That's what I want to see in the story.
Yeah, I'd agree with that too. Tommy?
I think I'm a little more like you. I want something. I don't use the word simple because I'm like Matt. I like complexity of character. You know.
No, yeah, yeah. Just me too. but just
And I know you do. I know you enjoy that stuff, but it's like
I don't want it to be Wonder Woman, too. You know.
Well, I think when those types of movies come out, I think what makes a good story for me is like, what's at stake? What are we? If you either take too long to establish that, or you don't never establish that, or there's too much going on to kind of figure out what the heck they're talking about, I think we get lost, and I don't think that makes a good story. I think that happens a lot in comic books because you don't. I think the art, which is kind of weird, of compacting one story into 30 pages, is not the standard for comic books. So like any book that hits the shelves today, it's like it's going to get unpacked over the minimum 12 issues, maybe 5, maybe 6. And even still, I don't think people have the ability to start a story and in 20 something pages later, 32 pages later, they can wrap that story up. All right, here's the here's the beginning, here's the ending, here's the crap that happened in between to get there. It can still be a Batman story, but I don't think the ability to tell that story is how people are writing, especially not people like that are mainstream comic writers, Tom King, Chip Zdarsky. They're like, they know they're unpacking this stuff over the course of 12 issues. So if you read the trade paperback, you're like, oh, that was a really good story. Mm-hmm. But if you have to wait every week and like 10,000 of the things have entered your mind since then, you're like, what the hell were they talking about?
Yeah.
And people like me and you who get confused. I don't have to go back and read this story.
I always have to read the last page of the. Yeah, I always have to do that of the previous issue.
I think to answer the question, I think there's some. I like the ability to establish that stuff right up front and know that this is what I want to go towards at the end. Because I always get weirded out when like a character, like, is that character going to live? Is this character going to turn bad? And but again, I'm like Matt too. I like certain complexities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I do too. I was just in the most concise way. That's kind of what I like. It doesn't have to be just.
But I do
simple.
think now we're talking about Batman. I think the complexity of the Batman character most people don't understand.
Okay.
Because the sort of the status quo here lately is just Batman is all psychological. It's all crazy. Mm-hmm. And they focused on the psyche of Batman for so long now that it's like he's just it's not that enjoyable of a character. And like if you're talking about the Robins right now in this storyline, the Gotham War, all the Robins, with the exception of Damian, are all at odds with him. Mm-hmm. All right. And it's almost to the point where here lately, like they've even just been to the point of like, I'm so done with Bruce.
Well, yeah. I mean, they've written him just to be like this machine, smartest detective in the world, all the gadgets, super rich, but like he's just an a-hole. That's all the credit where it's due, but he's an a-hole because they've.
And I think all the things that made the character fun anyway have been taken away.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. So getting back to that would be very, very good. Maybe that's what we feature this week with our Batman week, or some of the more lighthearted and fun Batman stories.
Yeah.
So, play some animated series on the TV this week.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll be
or old school Super Friends, man.
Heck yeah. I
used to love. That's the only reason I watched the Bozo Show.
Yeah.
Growing up, because I knew they were going to play a Batman and Robin episode.
Yeah. And low key, when I'd watch Scooby-Doo episodes, I always wanted it to be the one where
with Batman
and Robin,
where they showed up.
Yeah,
they were the Harlem Globetrotters.
Weren't they in the same episode once?
The Harlem Globetrotters and Batman
and Robin.
God, I want to say yes.
I feel like there was a team up. Yeah,
I do. I know having them in, because like they were always trying to solve the mystery with the Joker and Penguin and Catwoman.
So I remember there was something going on. The Globetrotters had a big game coming up, and they were trying to keep them awake or something all night, so they wouldn't. So they were the next day at the game. Curly was like going to sleep, playing basketball.
Why were they trying to keep him awake?
I can't remember like the plot line to that. But,
all right, I gotta look that up.
Yeah, but it's those. Yeah, I mean, but that was corny. But where do you even find Super? I don't know where I guess HBO has everything now, so that's where we get
well, the Tubi has stuff too, but
yeah. So
Scooby-Doo, Batman meets the Harlem.
We have a Harlem Globetrotters, some comic books over there that I bought in a collection. as well. Now that I think about it,
What is it?
Harlem Globetrotters key, gold key.
Oh, we
books
got one of
over
those?
there. I got a couple.
Wow.
Did you look at it? You didn't find it?
There was some stuff on there. I want to get sidetracked.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Anyway,
We have enough.
Batman Day,
Dead boring
Saturday,
moments.
show up.
Yes, please. Go somewhere and celebrate it. Because not every super. Is there not a Spider-Man Day? It's crazy. They don't
Well,
get-
Star Trek Day was the other day,
Yeah.
like Friday or
like
something.
So
it just kinda,
many Spider-Man.
it just kind of slid by.
Yeah.
And I put a post out, which Matt's not on social media, so I guess he didn't see my post. And I only had one person actually comment and say, "What? No DS9, no Voyager."
Oh yeah, I remember who
'Cause
that
I only
was.
put TOS and Next Generation episodes on
I
it.
saw your post.
You did.
I had issues.
I actually did it with intentionality. There was actually a moment though where I looked up a DS9. Like, what was the top 10 DS9 episodes? And I was like, I can't in good conscience put this out and be able to go, okay, this is actually my favorite DS9 episode, because I just thought
Be a lie.
it would be a falsity. Yeah,
It's because you hadn't really
Times
seen
there.
it, or because you hate that series.
I have seen DS9, just not as religiously as I've seen the other
Okay.
stories.
Got you.
So I can't go, this is my favorite DS9 episode. I definitely, Voyager, I was like, very rarely watched that. I could have done Enterprise probably, but I only ever like watched it like twice.
All right.
Not like the Next Generation and the original series. What was my issue? What were your issues with the actual post? Because I put the inner light on there.
Time Zero.
Time Zero is one of my faves though.
Well, if it's your favorite, it's your favorite. But
I mean, I didn't put the drum head on there because I knew you liked that
it
one.
shouldn't even be in the top 10.
Huh?
Shouldn't even be in the top
It's
10.
got Mark Twain in it, bro.
That's one of the reasons why it shouldn't be in the top 10.
I
Dude, the
remember
original
seeing
series
that.
had Abraham Lincoln. Come on.
Third season episodes don't count.
I remember
Those are the only ones with Chekhov.
I came in one day and you had that on, and it was everything Star Trek-y. Everything was Star Trek Next Generation. But it's like, is that Colonel Sanders or Mark Twain? What is this right now?
You didn't even put Tapestry on there. I mean, Tapestry is like top 2.
Carol
Kidding
King?
me?
Look, man, I could literally put 15 of my favorite episodes. I was looking even for like the Q ones, you know.
Stones had a new video this week. A new
Oh,
song.
we
that
didn't
went
talk about that. Don't get off sidetrack because you don't know nothing about Star Trek. Hold on, me and
Exactly.
Matt are arguing right now.
Angry. I've been singing it all week.
Yeah, Tapestry should have been up there. You're right.
Carol King.
But I didn't want to put a 10 post issue of. I mean, I put the 3. I didn't put Spock's brain or a mock time on there, you know, because I do think Return of the Archons is probably my favorite original.
That's legit.
Why are you going to sleep?
This is Inside Star Trek with
Sounds like
Tom.
a-
and
sounds
Matt.
like
So
a
this is a
rap.
mini podcast within the podcast.
Podcast with Tommy and Matt.
Yep.
We can talk afterwards. You've got to get on to some Northern nerd stuff.
I will.
You can't talk Lord of the Rings with us.
I got to cut out.
I literally called Matt the other night.
I got to cut out sports
Listen.
to do that.
I called Matt the other night because I've gone down this Wheel of Time rabbit hole.
Uh huh.
And Matt's a big Wheel of Time guy. You know what Wheel of Time is? Like Matt just dropped dead back there. It's a book series. Robert Jordan. Nothing. Got nothing. It's a TV show on Amazon.
Okay.
So if you watch the TV show, at least you'll have somebody. Matt won't watch the show because it's his favorite book series. But
Okay.
I'm trying to learn about the universe a little bit.
All right.
So I really
Wheel of
can't
Time.
argue whether or not the books the show is probably not going to do the books justice, but the question is, does it do it enough justice to watch the show? Anyway, I like all this stuff. So like, you can't talk Lord of the Rings with us. We got to get you up to speed on some of this stuff, man.
Well, okay.
But if we talk Yankees baseball, I'm out.
I was going to say, I'd love to talk
I could talk. I could
baseball
give you
with
every
Joey,
player.
but Yankees.
Yeah, you guys can do baseball all day long. I'm out when it comes to that.
I give you all the rosters from the late '80s, mid '80s on all the teams, the all mustache team.
We'll have a break off and talk about the sheer crime that Don Mattingly isn't in the Hall of Fame.
Man,
That you know, I know what you're talking about. Why, that's a travesty.
it is. It is.
I think Pete Rose should be in the Hall
He
of
was a
Fame.
flash in the pan because of his injuries. That's kind of what they look like. What they say. He just didn't do it, but he did it a lot.
He was the guy.
He was the guy. Batting average, hits, Yeah. I mean, hit his little home runs too. Lefty, man. Yeah. I could definitely talk with you about that. I appreciate you mentioning it.
If he had just hung on for one more year, would have got that ring.
He
might have helped him along a long way.
Absolutely. Yeah. After he leaves, the best baseball teams ever to be assembled were at the Yankees. Yeah. 96, lost 97, 98. Yeah, it's good. But that's for another day, my friend.
Well, Batman Days this week, Comic-Con next weekend. We'll probably be back before then. So
yeah, we got a busy.
Don't call and ask for Lorcana. We don't have any.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? But we will.
We will. We're getting some more. We're gonna get some more for our players.
Wonder how many we'll get. Yeah, come play in the tournament. You get some Lorcana.
Show up at the shop.
All right.
All right.
Yes, son.
Yes, son.
Bye, son. Bye.